Hi guys! So I'm super excited to be doing this video. I actually did, and let me just push this over a little. I actually did the introduction to this video series already, and it was like a week ago, and I haven't even filmed. Just getting used to Alaric being here. He's actually right over there, but I'm not going to disturb him right now. He is 2 weeks old, and he actually has a cold, so he caught his brother's cold. And that's really rough on a little guy, so just getting used to all that. I have not filmed, and so I was really glad that I pre-filmed to even have videos out for you guys anytime soon. He's making noises over there in his sleep. But anyway, I am going to try to film this video and hope that I don't have to pause it too many times. He is napping, but I don't know if he is due for a wake up shortly. We'll just have to see. But anyways, this is going to be, if you didn't see the introduction to this video series, this is going to kind of be a mama series, okay? All about being a mama. So things that the doctors don't tell you, the hospital doesn't tell you, things that mamas typically go through and they just don't share with each other. I think it is a complete shame, because that's why I love this community. That's why I love YouTube. It's why I even have social media at all, because I feel like there's always room to grow and share. And I feel like if you're a part of the planner community, you're sharing your planner with each other. You're sharing the way you do your planner with each other. You're giving each other ideas. If you're part of the couponing world, you're sharing couponing deals and sharing how you do things so other people can benefit from it. And if you're from the mom community, I think that you need to do the same thing. And I know there's tons of channels out there, some big, some small, some in between, and they do these things and they share these things. But sometimes it's not quite as personal as I feel could be beneficial to other people. So things that people just don't really want to admit to themselves, or maybe things that you just don't want to say that you went through, or things that we don't really talk about because it's personal, and we try to kind of keep it hush hush. And there are some mom channels like Ashley over on Joyful Chaos, Angie, and This Gathered Nest, and all of that I feel really do a good job at like sharing things, and they're not. They have another channel. They're actually sisters. They have another channel called The Sister Show. I don't know if that's the actual name of the channel, but that's what they do on that channel. And they share private things, and I think that there need to be more people like that. And there are more channels, but those are just two of my favorites. And I felt like that's why I started my YouTube channel, and I felt like I wanted to do a series to kind of give back to other mamas. If you're a first-time mom, or maybe you're a mom who just hasn't gone through these things before, it can be difficult because you don't really know who to ask. Sometimes people don't have anyone to ask. I know me, I only have my mom or my grandmother, and some of these things never happened to them. Or sometimes things have changed since they had a baby and they never have to experience this, and so they don't know the answers. So anyways, I'm going to express my experiences, my opinions in this series. So I'm not an expert in any way. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a baby expert. I've just had 3 of them, and this is what has happened to me with those 3 babies that I can talk about, okay? So that is what we're gonna do. And the first video, even though I've already spent 4 minutes introducing the whole thing yet again, the first video in this series that I want to talk about is postpartum. So not your baby yet, but you. When you come home from the hospital, what the heck are you supposed to expect? Because they give you this bag with a water bottle and some pads big enough for, you know, a grown baby to have on their bum, and then they just send you home, and they don't exactly tell you what to expect, except for the horrible things. If this happens, please come back to the hospital, and you don't really know what you're getting into, okay? So that's kind of what I want to talk about. If you don't like graphic, this is probably not for you. If you're embarrassed easily, this is probably not for you, so you might not enjoy this video, but I'm going to be completely graphic and completely, here it is, blunt and to the point. And that's just me. So, when you first come home from the hospital, if you have, now I can't speak to a C-section because I've never had one, but if you have a vaginal birth, there's two different things. Do you have stitches or don't you? Okay? If you've never had a baby before, I'm going to speak to you. So I'm going to speak in this video like you've never had a kid before, okay? So you, if you're smaller, especially if you've never had a baby before and the doctor kind of feels like you're probably going to tear, they might cut you. This happened with me with Tristan. My doctor cut me, and then I still tore the rest of the way. So it was completely from one end to the next, torn open. And when that happens, you have to have stitches. So with my first one, I had stitches. With the other two, I did not. Sometimes they can be internal stitches or external stitches or both. I had both. To me, as far as the recovery period goes, the stitches were absolutely the worst part, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. The stitches, they're sore at first, and dear God, you don't even want to address down there, much less, you know, wipe it or even dab it or even breathe its way, because it is sore. It burns. It is a wound that was cut. Your skin was actually cut and then sewn back together. So of course it's going to be sore. And then when you stand up, the pressure on that, because it was cut and then sewn, so the pressure on the stitching is a lot, okay? It feels like your insides are going to flood through your vagina and fall on the floor. That's what it feels like. But that will make you and force you to kind of take it slow in that recovery process in the beginning time, which is something that I am really, really bad at. Yeah, so that is the one thing, okay? So when it was me, the actual water bottle they give you, that is Life. You fill it up with the warmest water you can possibly stand and squirt it on there as much as you please, because that's what gives you the most relief. Because as those stitches start to heal, they itch and they burn. So you can't address the itch because of the burn, and you don't want to because it's stitches. I mean, what are you supposed to do? They tell you at the hospital to dab. That is definitely the best option. Do not wipe it. Do not think about wiping it. Do not even attempt to wipe it. Definitely dab, and definitely use that water bottle with as hot of water as you can possibly stand. It helps a lot, okay? It really does help a lot. With my first baby, the bleeding was the heaviest with my first one. I don't know if that's just me or if it's just across the board. I don't know. Mamas, tell me down below if that was you as well. Definitely comment down below. We need to give these mamas our feedback, right? We need to give first-time mamas or women who haven't had babies yet, we need to give them that feedback so they know. So definitely comment down below any thoughts that you have, your experiences as well. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing, definitely share it down below as well. I definitely want you to add to what I'm saying. So that kind of addresses the soreness, the bleeding. I can't remember, honestly. I mean, it's been 6 years ago, so I can't remember how long the bleeding lasted with my first or with Killian. I can tell you that with Alaric, it's almost done and it's 2 weeks, so I don't know. I feel like it gets shorter and shorter every time I have a baby, but again, I don't know if that's just me or if it's everybody. Now let's talk about, I want to talk about 2 more things. So the one thing that I want to talk about that I think is funny, and I actually read a mama's blog, and I cannot remember who it was, but it was the funniest postpartum article I have ever read in my entire life. It had me rolling on the floor, and it was so true, everything she was saying. Like, she was just being completely blunt and to the point. Like, yeah, they don't tell you this, and they don't tell you that, and they don't tell you this, and it was really humorous. But I can't remember who it was, but when you go to the bathroom the first time,
Mama.
What, baby? Hold on just a minute, okay?
My butt